Good morning, good afternoon, one and all. So, today we're going to start a new topic, as I said in the last class, so that is deadlocks and memory management. So, what we're going to study in this deadlocks and memory management, so that briefly I explained in the last class. So, in the last class, also we studied all this process of synchronization, process management, and also we discussed about the semaphores. Then we discussed about monitors. So discussed about critical section problem. We discussed about the classic problems of synchronization. So many other things we discussed. Okay, so about process management and why the process management is so much important. Okay, so in the operating system, so that is also we understood. Then how the process is managed, how the process is synchronized, which using a what type of methodology, what type of algorithms, what type of technologies. Okay, so all this thing we discuss in detail with some examples and all, and how this problem can be solved using semaphores, how this problem can be solved using monitors, and how this different functions like weight function, signal function, and binary semaphore. Then after that, the hardware semaphore, okay, hardware semaphores, okay, so how it is used for process synchronization. Okay, so all these things we discussed very clearly. Okay, so now we go for the next topic, that is called as deadlocks and memory management. Okay, this is again one more challenging task for the operating system, that is deadlocks and memory management. Because as I explained in the last class, deadlock is a situation where the one process is holding a resource and it is requesting for the one more resource. Okay, so the condition is as such, so we should not make the process to hold one resource and request for the another resource. Okay, so whenever the process want to acquire a one more resource, so you should release the resource which is it is holding. Okay, so that is a condition. But in this case, what happens, even the process is holding one resource, it will request for one more resource. Okay, so that is called deadlock situation, that leads to a deadlock situation. Okay, so let us understand what is this deadlock means. As I explained, the deadlock is a situation where a set of processes are blocked because of each process is holding a resource and waiting for another resource held by some other process. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, so deadlock is a situation where, so deadlock is a situation so where, so a set of process are blocked because of each process is holding other resource and the resource waiting for resource held by some other process, that is called a deadlock situation, where the resource is held by a process and it is requesting for the one more resource which is already used by another process. Okay, so it leads to a deadlock situation. Okay, then if I take a real-time example for explaining a deadlock situation, two trains are coming towards each other on the same track. Okay, so if the two trains are coming on a same track, okay, so each other, so that leads to a deadlock situation because the track is a single track is there, but two trains, okay, so they're coming in opposite direction, but they can't go anywhere. Okay, so that leads to deadlock situation. This we can give it as example for a deadlock situation in the real time. And after that, so the system model. Okay, so what is the system model of the deadlock situation? The system consists of a finite number of resources. Okay, so that we know. Okay, so in a computer system, so we have a finite a set of resources, finite number of resources will be there. It may be memory, it may be printer, it may be CPU, it may be any other resource. Okay, so which is related to the computer. So that is called the finite set of system resources will be there. So that is called the a system model. Okay, these resources are distributed among a number of processes. Okay, so whatever the resource which is available with the computer system, so it is totally distributed. Okay, it is distributed among the a number of process which is running. Okay, the process which is running, the process must request the process must request a resource before using it and release the resource after using it. But this is very, very important. Okay, the process must request a resource before using it and it should release the resource it should release the resource after using it. Okay, so whenever the process a request for the resource, that resource is allocated to the process, and after usage of that particular resource, the process should release the resource. Okay, you should not hold the resource. Okay, and you should not request for the one more resource. That should not happen. Okay, so if that is the case, then it leads to the deadlock situation. Then after that, so what is our the uh, following conditions? Okay, the process can request any number of resource carry out a given task. Okay, so that is one more the flexibility what we are giving through the operating system. The process can request any number of resource to carry out the given task. If any task is assigned, any problem is assigned to the process to execute the task, to perform the task, to complete the task, it can request any number of resource. Okay, that is allowed. But so at any given point of a time, it should hold only one resource. Okay, so and it should release that resource before it go to the acquiring of a new resource. Okay, that is a condition. Next one, the total number of resources requested must not exceed total number of resources which are available. Okay, so means what? If n number of resources are available, the request or the process should request only n number or less than n number. Okay, you should not request for n plus 1 number of resources. Okay, that is one more condition. Then after that, in normal operation, a process must perform the following task in sequence. Okay, in normal operation, in normal procedure, the process must perform the following task in sequence. Okay, it should follow the a sequence of order. Okay, so what is the sequence of order? There should be a request, there should be a request from the process, there should be a use of that particular resource, and there should be a release of the resource. Okay, request of the resource, use of the resource, and release of the resource. Okay, so that we can say, okay, request of the resource, request of the resource. Okay, so as you can see, request of the resource, then use of the resource, and after that, so the release of resource. Okay, so these are the three operations the process should follow. So whenever they are requesting a resource, whenever they are using a resource. Okay, so what is the request of a resource means? Okay, so if the request cannot grant immediately, then the request process must wait for acquiring the resource. Okay, what happens actually in the request of the resource? If the request is made by the process and it is not granted immediately, then automatically it has to wait. Okay, so to acquire that particular resource, so that is called as request of a resource. Okay, so in that time, okay, so we have so many different functions used. So we may use open function, malloc, new, request. Okay, so all these are some of the function, inbuilt function, so which is used under request of resource. Next one, the use of resource. Okay, in the use of resource, we have the process uses the resource. The first point, example, a printer to print the read from the file. Okay, printer to print or to read from the file. So all these are some of the process or activities, okay, which is performed by the process. Okay, so that comes under use of resource. Okay, and finally we have this release of resource. What is this release of resource? So the process releases the resource. So whenever the job is done, whenever the process executes its job by using the a particular resource, then the process releases the particular resource. Okay, that is called as a release of resource. Okay, so for example, we use functions like a close function, we use function like a free function, we use function like a delete function, we use function like release function. So all these functions are used under release of resource. Okay, so like this, so three major operation, the three major tasks in sequence we should follow. So that is request of resource, then use of resource, then release of resource. Okay, the diagram shows a small diagram, so which shows a deadlock may involve different types of resources. Okay, so this is a diagram, okay, shown both process p1 and p2 need resource to continue of its execution. Okay, so we have a two process, p1 is there and p2 is there. To continue its execution, to continue execution of the process p1 and a p2, they require, okay, they require a resource. Okay, so p1 requires what? P1 requires p1 requires additional resource of r1 and is in process of resource R2. Okay, so P1 requires additional resource of R1, and it is in possession of resource R2. Okay, so same way, so P2 requires additional resource of R2 and is in possession of R2. So means what? Okay, possession of R1. So means what? So the P1 is already holding, okay, one resource called R2, but it is requesting for the resource R1. So P1, P2 is already holding a R1. It is requesting for the resource called R2. So like this, so we may get some situation where so the process will hold one resource and request for the one more resource. So this leads to a deadlock situation. Okay. So next one is neither process can continue. So what happens if this is the case? Neither process can continue. So they start waiting. Okay, so without doing any kind of a job, so they start waiting. Okay, so that is a situation called a deadlock situation. Then after that, multi-thread programs are good candidates for the deadlocks because they compete for shared resources. Okay, so who or when we get this kind of a situation, okay, deadlock kind of a situation in multi-thread programming, so we call it as it's a very what is telling a good candidate, okay, candidate thing, but we can expect more, okay, in the multi-thread programming, this kind of a situation called as a deadlock situation. Okay, so the deadlock situation is very common in multi-thread programming. That is the meaning. Next one is deadlock characterization. Okay, so what is this deadlock characterization means, or what is the characteristics of our deadlocks? Okay, in a deadlock, a process never finish executing, and system resources are tied up, preventing other jobs from starting. Okay, so means what? In deadlock situation, what happens? The process never finishes execution. Okay, so it will simply waiting for one more resource for completion of execution. The system resources are tied up. Okay, the system resources are simply tied up among the process, preventing other job from starting. Okay, so that is called as a deadlock situation. What are the necessary condition for the deadlock? Okay, what is the necessary condition means? So if this condition is there, okay, so then we can say there is a deadlock. Okay, so that is called a necessary condition for the deadlock. Okay, there are four conditions that are necessary to achieve the deadlock. Okay, so we are not intentionally achieving, don't mistake, we are not intentionally achieving any deadlock situation here, but we are trying to understand what are the necessary condition. If these conditions are there, okay, so then we can easily tell that there is a deadlock, okay, in the system. Okay, so please don't think so we are working, our operating system is working with only one or two process, okay, as shown in the example, process P1 and a P2. No, okay, the operating system will be working n number of process, okay, thousands together process will be there, lakhs together process will be there. So that time, okay, identifying which process is involved in the deadlock, okay, it's very difficult. So because of that, so we should understand, so what are the necessary conditions for the deadlock? Okay, the necessary conditions for the deadlock, the four conditions that are necessary to achieve the deadlock are, the first one is called as the mutual exclusion. Okay, so what is this mutual exclusion means? Already we studied the mutual exclusion. Okay, when one process want to communicate with the other process, when one process want to exchange information, okay, so synchronously, okay, so mutually, okay, mutual exclusion, so that is called as the mutual exclusion condition. If there is no mutual exclusion, if there is no any communication among the process, okay, then easily we can expect there a deadlock situation, because process 1 is not communicating with the process 2, process 1 is using one resource, it is requesting for the one more resource, process 2 also using one resource, it is requesting for one more resource. It leads to some kind of a loop there, it leads to some kind of a missing of mutual exclusion there automatically, so we can expect the deadlock situation there. Okay, so that is a one necessary condition we can say. So next one is a hold and a wait. Okay, as the name says, hold and wait. Okay, so we are holding a resource and waiting for one more resource. Our process is holding a resource and it is waiting for one more resource. This also can lead to the deadlock situation. Okay, so this is the second condition, so which leads to, or which becomes a necessary condition for a deadlock situation. What is this hold and a wait means? A process must be simultaneously hold at least one resource and waiting for acquiring a additional resource. Okay, as is telling, if the process is holding a resource and it is trying to acquire the additional resource, okay, so which is not available, okay, at that point of a time, but still, so it don't want to continue. Okay, it don't want to continue, it want to acquire the new resource, so additional resource, so that is called as a hold and a wait situation, so which may lead to the deadlock situation. Okay, so next one is called as a no preemption. Okay, so what is this preemption means? Already we studied. So what is preemption, what is non-preemption? Okay, so all these things we already discussed. Okay, so what is this no preemption means? Once the process is holding, once the process is holding a resource, then that resource cannot be taken away from that process until the process voluntarily releases it. Okay, so means what? So the no preemption means preempting is completely denied. Okay, so preempting is completely denied. No preemption technique we are following here. If the one process is holding one resource and it is continuing with that resource, okay, execution it's continue with that resource only until unless it releases the resource. Okay, so we can't allocate that particular resource to any other process. Okay, so if this is the case, so there we can expect the deadlock situation. Okay, then finally the last one is called as the circular wait. Okay, so what is this circular wait? A set of process, okay, a set of process p0, p1, p2 and up to pn must exist such that P0 is waiting for the resource that is held by P1 and P1 is waiting for the resource that is held by P2 and so on. Okay, so if this is a situation, then automatically we can expect, so there is a deadlock. Okay, so it is called as the circular wait situation. Okay, so like this, so the necessary condition for deadlock are mutual exclusion, the hold and the wait, no preemption, circular wait. Okay, so all these are some of the necessary conditions of the deadlocks. Okay, next we go for the resource allocation graph. Okay, so what is this resource allocation graph? Okay, so there are n number of resources are there, there are more than n number of processes are there. So what we need to do as an operating system, the all the resources to be allocated properly to the process. Okay, so that is can be represented using a resource allocation graph. Okay, so resource, as you can see here, so resource allocation and a graph. Okay, to allocate the available resource to the process, so that can be represented using this resource allocation graph. The resource allocation graph is a directed graph that can be used to describe the deadlock situation. I want to tell about the deadlock situation that can be shown, okay, that can be represented using the resource allocation graph. Resource allocation graph consists of vertex, it consists edges, vertex represented by V, edges represented by E. Then after that, V is divided into two types of nodes. V is divided into two types of nodes. P is equal to P1, P2, Pn, that is a set of consisting of all the active process in the system. All the active process we are representing in the form of P1, P2, P3, P4 until up to Pn. Okay, so that is equal to P. So same way, so the R is equal to R1, R2 and R3 till up to Rn. A set of consisting of all the resource type of the systems. So all the resources are represented, okay, in the form of R1, R2 till up to Rn. Okay, so that is R is equal to R1, R2, Rn. Okay, so next one. So E is divided into two type of edges. E is divided into two types of edges. E is nothing but edges. Okay, V is nothing but a vertex. Okay, so in the vertex we have two types. One is a P, one is a R. P represent the process, R represent the resource, and E is divided into two types of edges. One is a request, one is a assignment. Okay, so what is request means, what is assignment means. Okay, so that we'll see. So through this small diagram, suppose that the process Pi requesting for the resource RJ, here the request RJ from Pi can be granted only if converting a request edge to assignment edge to do not form any cycles in the resource allocation graph. Okay, so there should not be any cycles in the resource allocation graph. Okay, as you can see here, this is the resource allocation graph. Okay, so this is one more resource allocation graph and this one more resource allocation graph. Okay, so that is a pictorially we can represent this resource allocation graph. So in this different forms. Okay, we represent each process pi as a circle. So process is represented in the form of circle, 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 and circle. Okay, and the resources are represented in the form of rectangle. Resources are represented in the form of rectangle, 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 and rectangle. Okay, and as shown below figure, the resource allocation graph illustrates the following three situations. Okay, so in the following diagram, so we can easily see the three different diagrams for resource allocation graph. First one is called as a resource allocation graph with the deadlock, resource allocation graph with the deadlock, resource allocation graph, a cycle and a deadlock, resource allocation graph, cycle but no deadlock. Okay, so there is a three different situation where resource allocation graph is there with the deadlock, resource allocation graph is there so without a deadlock. Okay, resource allocation graph with the cycle is there and deadlock is there. Okay, so all the three different cases are shown in the small diagram. Okay, so as is telling, okay, so here we have the first diagram, that is a resource allocation graph, resource allocation graph. Okay, so this is with deadlock. So this is with the deadlock means so we have resource r1 is there, r2 is there, r sorry, r1 is there, r2 is there, r3 is there, and r4 is there. In r1 we have a one instance of resource, in r2 we have a two instance of resource, in r3 we have a one instance of resource, in r4 we have a three instance of resource. So here, so process p1, it is already having, okay, it is already allocated with the one instance of r2, but it is still requesting for the one instance of a r1. Whereas in process P2, one instance of R2 is already allocated, okay, and one instance of R1 is already allocated, but it's still requesting for one more instance of R3. Two resources are allocated for the process P2, that is R2 and R1, but still it is requesting for one more resource, that is called R3. Then again, if I go for a P3, okay, so there the one instance of what is available in the R3, that is allocated to the process P3. So like this, so we may get some situation where so there is a loop. Okay, so there is a deadlock. Okay, so it is not loop, there is a deadlock is there. Okay, so there is a deadlock in this situation where the process P2, okay, and process P1, so they are in a deadlock situation because already one instance of R2 is allocated to the process P1 and is already requesting for one more instance of R1. But same case here in the process P2, one instance of R2, one instance of R1 is already allocated, but again it is requesting for the one more instance of R3, but it is already allocated to the process P3. Okay, so like this, so until unless the process P1 releases the instance of R2, okay, so R until unless the process P2 releases the instance of R1, until unless the process P3 releases the instance of R3, okay, so we can't allocate that resources to the P1, P2, and a P3. Okay, so we can't solve this situation, so it is called as a deadlock situation. If I go for the second diagram, we go for the second diagram. So again, in the second diagram also we have the process P1, P2, P3 is there, and resource R1, R2, R3, and R4 is there. Okay, so again your one instance of R2 is allocated to the process P1. It is requesting for one more instance of R1, and one instance of our process R1 is already allocated to the process P2, and one more instance of resource R2 is allocated to the P2. It is requesting for one more instance of R3, and the only one instance of our R3 is allocated to the process P3, and it is requesting again to the one instance of a resource R2. Okay, so this, okay, as you can see here, the arrow goes like this, it goes like this. Okay, it will come here, go here, it go to this R3, comes to the process P3, again it come back to the resource R2. So there is a cycle. Okay, there is a cycle. So if there is a cycle, okay, if there is a cycle, so we can also expect, so there is a deadlock, but we can't say that only because of a cycle so there is a deadlock. Okay, so there may be a deadlock, there may not be a deadlock. Okay, so that is also is there. Okay, so like this we have, okay, so like this, so we have one more example, and let us see the last example with the cycle but no deadlock. So please understand here, so this is with the cycle but no deadlock. Okay, always we can't say that. So because of a cycle, there is a deadlock. Okay, so here we have only two resources. Resource R1 is there, resource R2 is there, but we have four process. Process P1, P2, P3, and a P4. And two instance of resource R1 is there, two instance of resource R2 is there. Okay, so two instance of R1, two instance of R2 is there. So what we are doing, the process P1 is allocated. Okay, sorry, process P1 is requesting for the resource R1. Then already the resource R2, one instance of resource R2 is allocated to the process P1. Then after that, so one instance of resource R1 is allocated to the process P2. One more instance of resource R2, R1 is allocated to the process P3, and already it is requesting for one instance of resource R2, okay, which is already allocated to the process P4. Okay, so this is the third diagram which shows the with the cycle, but no deadlock. Okay, so like this, so we have three different diagrams, okay, which shows so how the process are allocated, okay, how the process are allocated with the resources in the deadlock situation. So using the this resource allocation graph. Okay, conclusion: if a graph contains no cycle, then the system is not deadlocked. Okay, if the graph contains no cycle, then we can easily say there is no deadlock. Okay, if the graph contains a cycle, if the graph contains a cycle, then deadlock may exist. Okay, if the graph contains a cycle, then the deadlock may exist. Okay, and these are the two conditions. Okay, so that conclusion we can say so about the deadlocks. Now we go for the next topic, that is called as methods for handling a deadlock. So what are the different methods which we are using for handling the deadlock? There are three ways of handling a deadlock. As you can see here, there are three different ways of handling a deadlock. One is called as a deadlock prevention or avoidance. Okay, so the clearly we are telling, so prevent the deadlock situation, avoid the deadlock situation. So it is very very common, very very simple solution what we can give. Okay, that is called prevention and avoidance. Okay, so but it is not as simple as we are telling. So because so the deadlock is a situation which occurs when operating system is working with n number of process. N number of process means the number may vary from 1 to 1000, 1 to lakhs. Okay, so so many number of process when they are working together. So that time preventing a deadlock situation, avoiding a deadlock situation is very 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 difficult. Okay, so it is almost impossible task. Okay, so because of that, so whenever you want to prevent a deadlock, whenever you want to avoid a deadlock, okay, so simply we can say, okay, so you please prevent a deadlock situation, please avoid deadlock situation by using some kind of a technique, some kind of algorithms and all, but it is very very difficult. Okay, so otherwise what we can do, the second solution, so deadlock detection and recovery. So this we can do. Okay, so this is possible. So because whenever the process are executing, and when we come across a deadlock situation, so we can detect that particular situation, we can recover from the situation. Okay, that is always possible. Okay, detection of a deadlock and recovery from the deadlock is very very easy, and that can be done. Okay, so that is a second method for handling a deadlocks. And the third method is ignore the problem. Ignore the problem. The third method is ignore the problem altogether. Okay, so simply you just ignore the problem. Okay, so don't think there is a problem exist. Okay, if a few process are not working because of a deadlock situation, leave it like that. Okay, you just continue with the other process. Okay, and if that process, okay, so because of the deadlock situation, if they get suspended, so don't worry. Okay, so that is the last case, that is the last method of handling a deadlock, where so even the deadlock situation occurs, so that time, so simply ignore that problem and keep continue with the other process. Okay, so that is the third method of handling a deadlock. Okay, so after that we go for the next one, that is called as a deadlock prevention. Okay, so what do you mean by deadlock prevention means? Deadlocks can be eliminated, prevented at least one of the required condition. Okay, so deadlocks can be eliminated by preventing at least one of the four required conditions. Okay, if I am able to prevent at least one of these condition, then we can prevent the whole deadlock. Okay, so the four conditions already we studied. Okay, if there is no mutual exclusion, if there is no any Walden weight, if there is no preemption, If there is a circular weight, okay, then we can expect the deadlock. So if assume there is a mutual exclusion, process are communicating, the process are having a very good communication among themselves. If there is a hold and wait, if there is no preemption, if there is a circular, if there is no circular weight, okay, so then automatically we can prevent the deadlock situation. Okay, so that is the main thing here. So if I'm able to eliminate by preventing at least one of the four required conditions, okay, so then automatically we can prevent the deadlock. Next one is the first point in this prevention of deadlock is a mutual exclusion. So as I said, the mutual exclusion means this condition must hold for non-shareable resources. Okay, the mutual exclusion condition must hold for non-shareable resources. For example, a printer cannot be simultaneously shared by several processes. That is a one condition. The printer cannot be shared by several process. Okay, mutual exclusion means synchronously we should use that particular resource. So one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, we should use it. Okay, if I'm able to achieve this mutual exclusion among the process, means what? Two process should not fight for the printer at the same time. If that condition holds good, then we can easily say that there is no deadlock. So next one is hold and wait. So in hold and wait, to prevent the this condition, to prevent this condition, the process must be prevent from holding one more resource while simultaneously waiting for a more resource. If I'm able to create a situation, okay, so where the process is not holding any resource, okay, and it's not waiting for one more resource, then we can say that there is no any block situation. Because so as and when the resource is used by the process, so quickly we're releasing the process, quickly we're releasing the resource to the queue, so that that same resource can be allocated to the new process. If that is the case, then easily we can say that there is no any hold and wait situation, and there is no a deadlock situation. Okay, so that is the second point. And in that we have this some examples given, like protocol 1 is there and protocol 2 is there. So protocol is nothing but the steps which is followed, so in a hold and wait this one, okay, situation. And the next one is called as a no preemption. Okay, what is this no preemption means? So we are not uh, no preemption, we are not getting into a situation where so the we are not getting into a situation where we can preempt the process, or we can preempt the resource which is used by that particular process. Means what? As and when the new request is coming, automatically we are preempting the process which is executing, and we are allowing the other process to use that particular resource. Okay, so that is called as the no preemption situation. So here also we are given some example of a protocol 1 and a protocol 2. So some example is given. And lastly, we have this circular wait is there. Okay, deadlock can be prevented by using the following two protocols. That is assign number all resources, then require the process to request a resource, only increase the decreasing the order. Okay, some conditions we are applying in the protocol 1. So for circular wait, and for protocol 2, okay, in the circular wait. Okay, so if there is no any circular wait, then also we can prevent the deadlocks. Okay, so all these comes under deadlock prevention. Okay, so we have this next topic that is called as deadlock avoidance. Okay, so what is this deadlock avoidance means? Okay, and what is this a safe state means? Okay, so all this thing we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so thank you for listening. Thank you.